Kids, I am back for a read aloud, and this is Mrs. Desjardins. So, this is a book we have read before. I'm sorry about this, but we have to do what the curriculum says to do, and they want us to read some books 3 times. So, this is the cover of the book that we read a few days ago. Now, can you remember the title of the book? Well, the title is The Story of Ferdinand. Now, who is Ferdinand? Remember that? What does Ferdinand like to do? Remember that? What happens to Ferdinand in the story? Do you remember? So, let's read the story and see if you remember some of the things that happened. Once upon a time in Spain. Remember, Spain is a country, and it is across the world. It's in a continent called Europe. There was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. Let me turn it this way so I can see it, and you guys can see the pictures. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Doesn't he look happy? Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, excuse me, because a cow are females. They're the mommies, and bulls are the daddies. But she would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here, where I can just sit just quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew till he was very big and strong. Look at him now. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. That's where they have the bullfights. Madrid is a city in Spain. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. And there he is, just enjoying himself underneath the cork tree. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. What do you think of those hats? All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. See, that's what they do usually, is butt heads together, just like that. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care, so he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Ouch! Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? Sting him. And that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Look at those eyes. Wow, did it hurt. Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. That's what they do. They have these big parades before the bullfights. Tough word. First came the banderilleros, with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. See, they're carrying those. You can kind of see it there. Next come the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears. See, those are long spears. It's got a sharp point at the end to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. See, there's a sword. Swords usually have a handle like that. Then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you? You remember? There he is, peeking out. That's Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderilleros were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Look at their faces. They're really afraid of him, aren't they? Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. That's what bulls usually do in the bullfight, but not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderilleros were mad, and the picadores were madder. And the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. Look at them. They don't know what to do. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end. Well, I hope you remembered some of this story. So remember what happened. Remember, Ferdinand just loved to sit quietly under his favorite tree and smell the flowers. But what ended up happening? The guys that came saw him jumping and snorting and acting crazy because he sat on a bee, and they picked him to go to the bullfight, right? Did he act like the regular bulls, what they usually do in a bullfight? No, he did not. He just did what he liked to do always, right? He sat there, right in the middle of the bull ring, Smell the flowers. Now, what do you think? I was wondering about these things. I want to see what you guys think. I wonder what would have happened if Ferdinand had fought in the bull ring. Do you think he would have been happy being a fighter? What do you guys think? Now, another thing I was thinking of. The men chose Ferdinand because he was behaving wildly and snorting after the bee stung him. Do you think they will choose the next bull the same way? How else could they choose a bull that likes to fight? Well, I want you guys to think about that. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I did, and like I said, there's a movie made from that book. And maybe once school starts, we're still not sure when it will, but I mean, everybody in the school, all the kids come to school. Well, hopefully it'll be sometime soon. And then maybe we can watch the story of Ferdinand. Till then, I will see you guys later, and I'll be back with another read aloud. Bye, guys.